Hello everyone, I'm Black Marvin. I'm a progressive psychedelic trance artist. I'm a professional sound designer and I'm also a teacher for electronic music production. Today I'm really happy because I made a video about one of my favorite plugins, and that is Multipass. The possibilities inside Multipass are almost endless, and it can give you some really complex and intricate results. But I feel for beginners, it can be maybe a bit intimidating because there's also when it just opens empty, and you kind of have to wave your way around the snap-ins and know what they do, how to use them. So with this video, I wanted to help with that by showing 5 multipass presets I think everybody should know how to make. The presets I show today are basic but useful, and if you understand, let's say, these techniques, you can easily stack up and combine some of these concepts into a bigger and more complex presets. By the way, if you want some really creative, complex, and intricate presets for Multipass, don't forget to check out Sludge by Fractal Sounds. It is 50 complex filters, but it's much more than filters. It is sludge. It is pretty unique, and the link is in the description. It's available on the Fractal Sound store. Also, if you want more content about the Kilohertz ecosystem, Multipass, or just awesome sound design in general, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. And let's have some fun in Multipass. Let's go. So we are inside FL Studio, and before jumping into Multipass, I just want to show you what we're going to work with today. We're going to do these Multipass presets, and we're going to use them on these elements. Basically, what we're looking at is there's a kick and bass. There's a kick here, there's a bass, snare, there's one lead bus, and there's one drum bus, which is honestly, it's like these are parts of a bigger project. That's all the buses. And like you can see, there's much more than these, but I chose these specifically because they're going to be great to demonstrate our Multipass presets. So this is what it sounds so far. So it's perfect for what we're gonna do. So we are inside Multipass, and the first preset is Multiband distortion, and we're gonna use this lead bus to demonstrate it. In order to do that, we're gonna use a distortion snap-in. Well, we're gonna use 2 of them. One right here on the mid band, and one on the top band. And you'll notice that this is Multipass in its default state. It's just, it opens like this. We're going to use the overdrive algorithm. There are different algorithms in the distortion module, but you know, they are sort of made that overdrive is the less harsh, and it becomes just even more destructive and harsher the more you go down. So now I want you to split in your mind that this here is going to be the density or the body of the sound, and here is going to be the clarity. And with the distortion, we can enhance these two. So I'm gonna drive the midband first. So you can hear now that the sound is much more dense. And also you'll notice today's example, I go really far because I want you to notice, but I don't use it that harsh in my own projects. But yeah, the midband is the density or the body of the sound. There's also other words to describe it. And the top band is the, well, it's the clarity and the crispiness. You'll see. Like I said, since we're keeping it easy today, it's a really good way to see that as the body or density of the sound. And this is the clarity or almost the definition. Also keep in mind that it is important if your sounds, because this is a bus, so it's a combination of multiple layers, but keep in mind that if your sounds have not been properly EQ'd before, you know, in earlier stages, when you start to drive in distortion, you'll It might not be as pretty as this example, but it's a great way to learn too. So it's also, I'm kind of restraining myself from giving too much information because I want to stay on the beginner side or the easy side. But yeah, it's also a good way to start the start of some push and pull technique involving EQing and distortion, but that's going to be for another story. That's it for the multiband distortion. Let's go to the next patch. So for the next patch, which is multiband transient shaping, we are still in the realm of sonic enhancement, and it's not necessarily on the creative side of things for this one. And also you notice that in the last patch, we didn't put anything on the low band. And there's a reason for that, because we don't want to distort and drive some of the low frequency content, since we're gonna remove that with the good old classic low cut earlier. And well, we can do some pre-EQ, some post-EQ, but usually we get rid of these frequencies for leads and elements like this. So that's why we didn't put any on the last preset. This preset is going to be different because we're going to work on the bass. But we're still not going to touch anything of the low frequency, and there's some good reasons for that, but I'll show you later. So first, we're going to start with a transient shaper on both the top band and the mid band. And in this case, I'm going to solo the mid band. This is what's happening. And again, this is a demonstration, so I'm going in more extreme settings than I usually do, but the idea is to shape the transient and get the bass to sound a bit sharper. And especially also on the top band, we'll get back some of the definition and snappiness of the bass. But let's start with the mid band. You'll hear that it becomes knockier, which is, you need to be careful with that. It can even be too much, but again, for our example, we'll stay with this. And now on the top band. You'll also need to remember that this is not gain compensated, so there's good chances that if you drive some of the transient, you'll get some higher values in terms of gain. Let's do a bypass. So you can hear that it sounds more snappy and crispier. Now with the low band, I'm going to show you what it does when you work on the low band with a transient shaper. The thing is that it might introduce some artifacts on the low band, and this is not a good thing. If there's a band of frequency that you want to keep as clean as possible, at least, well, I'm going to say at least in psytrance, but I would tend to do that in any styles of electronic music. Yeah, it starts to add artifacts, so let's see how it sounds. So yeah, I wouldn't really recommend using a transient shaper on these low frequencies. But this is a really good technique that you can use to enhance sound. Any percussive sounds, I could have used the drum bus or the kick. So yeah, this is how you can enhance a bass line by doing this. But any percussive element, a drum bus, kick, snare, you can do some multiband transient shaping. And the multiband aspect really comes handy because sometimes on specific bands, you don't want to drive that much, and on other band, you can drive more, but it really helps you shape the transient in a really precise way. Third patch is multiband gating, and of course, everything is multiband because this is multipass. That's kind of the idea of that snapping host, is to split every band. So we're going to get a trance gate, and we're going to do control and then click. We're going to hold control, and then we're going to click and drag the trance gate right here. I'm going to stay on the default settings here. Well, at least for this band, because I want to keep things easy. So let's hear how it sounds. And in this case, we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to treat the low frequency because we want, you can hear that it sounds weird. We want everything to gate at the same time. Or do we? So right now we have everything gating at the same frequency, but what's really cool again with the multiband process, because, you know, all this could be the same as just, you know, doing this, you know, one time and processing everything one time. But now what's really cool is that we can get a different pattern for, I'm using presets here because again, I'm keeping things simple, but there's a much more gating principle that we can do. And we can even, eventually I'll show you some technique using the LFO instead of the trance gate, but it's for another video. But yeah, so I used another preset. So this is the mid band and this is the top band gating. Actually, I want something maybe more full or different. Yeah, that works. Okay, so now we have, again, this is the top. And this is the mid band. So a small difference, and maybe we'll do more differences, but the idea is to have a different gating rhythm on the top and on the mid band. And the idea is that in electronic music, contrast and differences can help bring out some elements. So it's going to be even trippier because they have a different rhythm. So let's hear how they sound. So that's really cool. That's really cool how they sound. And I hear the difference. We can hear the difference definitely. And let's try to enhance that effect even more. And we can also put maybe different decay. Yeah, so that's pretty much not a big difference with the decays, but still, just having the fact that it's not the same rhythm, it helps, and there's no delay involved yet. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That was the multiband trance gate. So for the fourth patch, I need to bring another element that was more suitable, and that is that perk here. There's a percussion. Is going to be better for demonstrating what's next. And the fourth patch is a multiband micro delay. So we're going to get a delay on the mid band. And again, for sure, we're going to use different rhythms. So first, we're going to set up an interesting delay on the mid band that is somewhat rolling. So that's great on the mid band. Now let's find something on the top band. Let's use the 2/16 rhythm. So again, contrast. There's a difference on the top band and the mid band, but it's still, you know, mathematically correct in a sense. It's not random values. So that's really cool to hear. It rolls, it's fancy. We're going to add a last element. We're going to get the LFO1 and we're going to get that random here, which is smooth noise. While this is stepped noise, it's also like a sample and hold, but this is smooth. So it's basically random and it's going from random value to another random value smoothly. And we're going to sync that, but this is going to be too fast. You'll see. We're gonna get that on the pan of this one, and this one We're gonna get that on the pan. We're gonna invert it. So basically, you can see that almost as far as it go, let's say on the left, well, it goes on the left, it goes on the right on top. But you can also see that this is quite a bit too fast. So let's try 8 on 16. And now let's hear it. Now that's really cool, and it adds a lot of movement to that percussion. Let's hear without. And now with the delay. So that was the multiband delay. Again, a couple of clicks, and you can see that there's like literally a latency of 0.00 millisecond, which is pretty light on the CPU for a nice effect like this. Simple but useful, couple of clicks. That was the multiband micro delay. So the fifth one is going to be the most complex while still being in the easy realm. And it's going to be multiband convolver games. I say games because yeah, we're going to put some action in that. But in order to achieve this one, you'll need two things. You'll need the convolver snap-in, and you'll also need the Eternia presets by Fractal Sounds. These are presets specifically for the convolver, and they look like this. So we're going to go in Eternia presets for convolver, and there's a bunch of stuff, but we're going to use the delay tricks. So let's grab these. Yeah, these delay tricks, they are basically they're applying some sort of delay on the sound, but it's unstable delay and some almost glitchy. So let's hear how it sounds on the midband. I like how unstable this one is. So what we're gonna keep this one. Do we change the tone? I think the tone is okay. So I'm gonna do Control, drag this one over here, and we are going to change the settings on this one, the stretch. Also, I want definitely more fade out. Let's see now how that sounds. Yeah, it is still a long decay, so that's really no problem because I'd rather have a very long decay like this and then be able to shape it myself. Let's do now, we're going to put the mix all the way down. This is where things get crazy interesting. We're going to get an LFO, and we're going to use it in that function, and we're going to put basically the mix up and down like this. So it's opening and closing. So let's hear how it sounds now. So that's 316. Let's hear 216. So this one sounds more, it really does sound gated, while this one almost brings a rhythm. Let's see how it sounds with more of that shape, sine shape. Okay, I like that. And, you know, that is already cool. We're gonna keep it. Yeah, again, I need to restrain myself because I can go crazy because, yeah, but we're gonna add, okay, so basically that convolver thing is pretty much done, even though we can do much more. But we're gonna bring in some aspect of the fourth patch, which is the multiband delay, and we're gonna get that. So we're gonna, yeah, we're gonna do exactly what we did. So basically what's gonna happen, and that was on 1, I think, or either it was the opposite, but it doesn't really mind yet. The idea is really that there's a difference. So that is that signal, which is convolved gated, now goes into the delay and now is delayed in a different way. And we're gonna set up again our little, we need to reset up it, but we're gonna do our little pan thing. And now listen to how it sounds. Yeah, that's pretty trippy, and that's still, we're still in the realm of not too many clicks. And yeah, I know this one is a bit more complex, but at some point we also kind of need to, we need to get the ball rolling and go into more complex territory. So that was the multiband convolving delay games. And that's it for this video. And you can see while we progress through the video, it kind of gets a bit more complex. And in the last preset, that was a good example of combining different techniques and different patterns. That delay pattern that we did on preset 4, we kind of brought it back in another preset, and you kind of stack some of these concepts and get better and more complex results, while also just using some of these. Sometimes just slapping that multiband distortion on the lead really just does it very well. Also, in the last preset, I used Eternia, which is a free preset pack for convolver. The link is in the description. You can grab it right now, or you can probably do something similar with other convolver preset, although I do recommend the Eternia presets. If you feel you need some help learning electronic music production, don't forget to check out my community of students. This particular month, it has been already 1 year. It's the 1-year anniversary, and it's awesome. I like teaching, and think you guys like learning, so that's awesome. And until then, I will see you in another video. Happy producing. Cheers.